Alright, in this tutorial we're going to look at how a firm chooses its profit maximizing output quantity. How does a firm in perfect competition make that decision? Well, first we're going to look at the comparison of the total revenue and the total cost, and we're going to use those values to compute the marginal revenue and the marginal cost. And so marginal revenue is equal to the change in the total revenue over the change in the quantity, sort of parallel to how marginal cost is computed. Notice that total revenue is always going up by $6, from $6 to $12 to $18, and that's because a firm takes the price as given. No matter how many units it brings to the market, it can always sell all of them at the going market price. So the marginal revenue is always, in this case, $6, whether it brings 3 units to the market or 6 or 8. This kind of structure won't be the same in other markets, but in perfect competition, the price is equal to the marginal revenue, which is even equal to the average revenue for all units. And so it's 6 in this example. Now, when we look at marginal cost, we know that that's the change in the total cost over the change in the quantity. And so the increase in the cost from $3 to $5 is 2, and from $5 to $8 is 3, and from $8 to $12 is 4. And you can see that the marginal cost is increasing as we increase our output. And so how does the firm choose how many units to produce? Well, it does a comparison. It looks at the marginal revenue column and compares it to the marginal cost column. And it looks at how much extra revenue am I going to get compared to how much extra cost I'm going to get. And so when we look at Unit 1, we're going to have extra revenue of $6, and we're going to have only extra cost of 2, so we should produce that unit. Now, should we produce unit number 2? Well, we're going to take in an extra $6 and only have extra $3 of cost, so we should produce that unit. And so we're going to work our way all the way down to the table, row number 5, where on the 5th unit, the extra cost is $6, and the extra revenue is $6. We break even on that very last unit. If we would go to unit number 6, the extra revenue is $6, and the extra cost is $7, and that means we're reducing some of our profit. So that's not profit maximizing. And so the profit maximizing output is always based on where the marginal revenue is equal to the marginal cost on the very last unit. And let's prove that by adding a profit column. Profit is equal to total revenue minus total cost. And if we compute those, we can see that at first we actually have a loss. If we don't produce any units, we have -3 as our profit, which is the loss, which is equal to the fixed cost. And then as we start to increase output, profit increases. And on the 4th unit, it's $7. But we choose to go to the 5th unit because we're indifferent to that very last unit. And if we could produce a fraction of a unit, there might have been some place between 4 and 5, that is profit maximizing. So we always produce up to the point where the last unit is an economic profit equal to 0. That's the profit maximizing quantity. Students are sometimes tempted to focus on a profit column, but very often that column is not available. So the rule is always produce to the point where marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost.